Chosen One, you have not arrived at this moment by chance. The concept of being chosen is not rooted in superiority, but in responsibility, an inner calling that aligns with divine timing. This term refers to individuals who are awakening to a higher consciousness and recognizing that their life experiences are shaping them for a role that goes beyond personal success. It is a role of alignment, purpose, and service. Over the last decade, many individuals across the world have reported a significant shift in their spiritual awareness. For those identified as chosen ones, this shift is not subtle. It is direct, urgent, and transformative. These individuals experience an internal signal one that seems to intensify around key dates, events, or even specific hours in the night. According to various spiritual interpretations, these signals are not accidental, but are part of a divine orchestration, guiding selected individuals toward their purpose. The first and most crucial step in the path of the chosen one is to acknowledge the inner signal. This is typically experienced as a heightened sense of urgency, clarity, or awareness that arrives unannounced. It may manifest as a sudden insight, a recurring dream, or an intense emotional pull towards spiritual practice. Many individuals on this path begin to notice synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that seem too precise to dismiss. These can come in the form of repeated numbers, symbolic dreams, or events that seem to align perfectly with their intentions. While mainstream perspectives often categorize these phenomena as psychological projections, spiritual frameworks interpret them as divine communication, subtle confirmations that the individual is on the right path. Chosen ones often describe the sensation as being pulled by a force that transcends logic. They may not fully understand the destination, but they are aware that they must prepare. And preparation, in this context, is not physical. It is mental, emotional, and energetic. There are particular moments, often referred to as divine windows, where the spiritual atmosphere becomes highly charged. In many traditions, the hours between 3 a.m. and 3:30 a.m. are considered spiritually significant. This time is believed to be when the veil between physical and spiritual realms is thinnest. For the chosen one, these moments represent key checkpoints in their transformation process. Spiritual leaders and mystics have historically emphasized the importance of stillness during these windows. Silence, solitude, and intention create the conditions necessary to receive guidance. These are not moments for passive observation. They require active participation, focused thought, spiritual readiness, and a conscious willingness to respond. It is during these windows that many chosen ones feel a tangible shift in their environment. The atmosphere becomes dense with awareness, and even the smallest distraction can sever the connection. Thus, maintaining a clear, undisturbed space is critical during these hours. To participate in these divine moments, the chosen one is encouraged to create a sacred space. This involves more than physical cleanliness. It requires emotional stillness, mental clarity, and energetic alignment. Eliminating noise, both external and internal, is a foundational step. Practical preparations may include dim lighting, the removal of digital distractions, and symbolic elements such as clean water or natural materials. Salty water, in particular, has been referenced in spiritual traditions as a purifier, believed to neutralize energetic interference and anchor divine frequencies. While the scientific community may not attribute energy cleansing properties to salt water, in many cultures, it continues to be a respected spiritual tool. More importantly, the state of the mind must match the state of the space. The chosen one must learn to still the internal dialogue. Doubt, fear, and overthinking interrupt spiritual flow. This does not mean suppressing these thoughts, but observing and releasing them. Techniques such as breath control, meditation, or focused journaling can be used to calm the nervous system and attune the mind to receive. A critical concept in the Chosen One's awakening is the understanding that thoughts during sacred windows are amplified. When in alignment with the divine flow, the thoughts that emerge from a disciplined mind are believed to hold creative power. In this state, the Chosen One is not just a participant, but a co-creator of reality. This belief is not exclusive to spiritual doctrines. Emerging research in neuroscience and quantum theory explores how focus, emotion, and belief influence decision-making and perception. In spiritual terms, these same cognitive mechanisms are interpreted as energetic tools. When one's thoughts are focused and pure, they can serve as a blueprint for divine manifestation. Therefore, Chosen Ones are advised to prepare specific thoughts or intentions in advance. These should not be vague desires, but clearly defined. Visions aligned with higher values, healing, service, clarity, purpose. The spiritual atmosphere during divine windows does not respond to self-centered demands. It responds to authenticity and alignment with a greater purpose. Another principle emphasized in the path of the Chosen One is vibrational integrity. This refers to the state of the body and its alignment with divine frequencies. During spiritual transitions, the body may exhibit subtle signs of energy adjustment, tingling, temperature shifts, or heightened sensitivity. These sensations are sometimes misunderstood as stress or fatigue, but in spiritual language, they may be signals that the individual is entering a higher vibrational state. It is crucial to stay present during these moments rather than resist them. When the body responds to spiritual frequencies, it is not merely reacting. It is calibrating. To support this process, physical discipline becomes relevant. Consumption, habits, sleep hygiene, and even posture influence how effectively the Chosen One can hold divine energy. While the path is not about perfection, it does call for intentional living. The Chosen One must care for their vessel, not just as a biological organism, but as a carrier of spiritual transmission. Distractions are a recurring threat to spiritual alignment. In many narratives shared by chosen individuals, breakthrough moments were missed not due to lack of faith, but due to a failure to eliminate noise, both social and mental. Whether it's an argument, a cluttered room, a ringing phone, or an internal state of anxiety, even minor distractions can dilute the potency of a divine encounter. Therefore, creating and maintaining a sacred environment is not symbolic. It is essential. Some spiritual systems recommend abstaining from certain physical activities, such as casual conversations or intimate interactions, during nights designated for spiritual activation. This is not about morality. It is about preserving energy and focus for higher tasks. The Chosen One is advised to treat such nights with the same seriousness as one would treat a life-changing meeting or sacred ritual. Many Chosen Ones describe the awakening experience as a wake-up call, a sudden realization that compels action. This call is not always gentle. It may arrive in the midst of chaos, emotional breakdown, or life transitions. In these cases, the disruption is not punishment. It is initiation. The spiritual framework suggests that hardship functions as training. Moments of loss, confusion, or isolation are understood as refinement periods where the individual is stripped of illusion. These experiences remove false identities and uncover core truths. As difficult as they may be, these periods are often cited as catalysts for the Chosen One's alignment with purpose. As one begins to recognize the divine nature of hardship, the narrative shifts from victimhood to preparation. The Chosen One begins to view past events as carefully woven elements of a larger design. This shift in perspective is foundational. It transforms personal pain into sacred preparation. Certain teachings suggest that specific dates hold unique spiritual significance. In the context of this awakening, the dates July 12 and 3, 2025 have been referenced as moments of high divine activity. While mainstream science does not recognize these dates in relation to energetic shifts, within spiritual communities, they are regarded as windows of accelerated alignment. The idea is not to idolize a date, but to use it as a reference point for preparation. When the chosen one anchors their awareness to specific time frames, they engage in intentional alignment. Much like preparing for an exam, an athletic event, or a key life milestone, this awareness allows the individual to focus their energy. During these dates, the guidance is to simplify one's life, reduce social noise, and prioritize spiritual clarity. These preparations are not superstitious rituals. They are logistical and energetic readiness steps. The chosen one does not wait for magic. They create the conditions for it to manifest. Chosen one, as you continue moving through this process of sacred alignment, you are entering the phase of confirmation, where insights deepen, purpose sharpens, and the inner transformation begins to materialize in your outer world. The foundational principles explored in Part 1 now unfold into their natural next step. Embodiment. To be chosen is not simply to receive divine instruction. It is to become the instruction in motion. You are not merely meant to hear the message. You are meant to carry it, live it, and reflect it in your daily life. In this second phase, the calling becomes clear. Your journey now moves from internal activation to external expression. You've already been prepared. Your challenges, disruptions, and long stretches of silence were not empty struggles. They were refinements. The divine did not overlook you. It was preparing you. Now, as the chosen one, you begin to walk differently. Not necessarily faster, not necessarily louder, but with more intention and less doubt. This part of the journey is less about seeking and more about stabilizing. You already carry the frequency. Now, your job is to maintain that vibration, regardless of the outer environment. You'll be placed in spaces where your alignment is tested, not to punish you, but to show you how deeply it has taken root. Your consistency becomes your message. When you speak with clarity, act with integrity, and choose what resonates with your spirit, even when it's inconvenient, others begin to notice. You're not preaching, you're modeling. That is the mark of the chosen, leading not by control, but by frequency. During divine alignment, many report experiencing an undeniable sense of knowing. This knowing does not arrive through rational deduction or detailed planning. It emerges as clarity. You simply begin to know what is for you and what is not. Choices become easier. Direction becomes obvious. Relationships become either deeply aligned or fall away without conflict. This is not egoic certainty. It is divine instruction rooted in inner truth. You no longer need to convince yourself of your path. The path begins to reveal itself through signs, synchronicities, and gentle inner confirmations. Clarity often replaces confusion and stages. What was once a fog of indecision now becomes a series of yes or no moments. Your intuition sharpens. You begin to speak what you once kept silent. You draw new boundaries not to defend yourself, but to protect the clarity that you've earned. And through that clarity, something else happens. Your energy becomes magnetic. You begin attracting new opportunities, people, and pathways, not because you're chasing them, but because you're resonating at the frequency they require. This is divine orchestration, not manipulation. With clarity comes responsibility. The chosen one begins to experience energy differently, not as a vague concept, but as a tangible part of reality. You may sense the heaviness of certain environments, feel drained after certain conversations, or feel discomfort even when things appear normal on the surface. These sensations are not your imagination. They are evidence that your vibration has shifted. You're no longer compatible with low-frequency dynamics. This isn't about judgment. It's about alignment. What no longer resonates must be released. Chosen ones are often called to practice energetic hygiene. Just as you clean your physical body, you now learn to clean your energetic field. This can include practices such as grounding, meditation, nature immersion, or silence. But more importantly, it includes making choices that protect your peace. May begin saying no more often, not as rejection, but as a statement of self-honor. You begin walking away not from others, but toward yourself. You remove what drains you, not out of cruelty, but because you've learned that your energy is your currency, and you are now called to invest it wisely. Many chosen ones, especially in this phase of embodiment, experience a period of solitude. This can be misinterpreted as loneliness. But solitude, in spiritual terms, is not absence, it is refinement. You are not being isolated. You are being tuned in solitude. You reconnect with the divine without noise. You rediscover your original frequency. You refine your voice, your thoughts, and your energy without external influence. Solitude is where your clarity becomes conviction. Often, it is in these quiet spaces that new gifts emerge. Creativity returns. Vision sharpens. Unresolved emotions surface for healing. The divine uses solitude not to hide you, but to prepare you for your next visible step. Do not resist this stage. Embrace it. Use it. Trust it. As you stabilize in your spiritual awareness, you'll also begin to understand your relationship with the collective. You are not chosen to be superior to others. You were chosen to serve from a higher awareness. This does not mean servitude. It means that your life becomes a living example of conscious leadership. Your presence in certain rooms begins to shift the energy. Your refusal to participate in dysfunction becomes a silent teaching. Your consistency in alignment becomes an invisible invitation for others to rise. This doesn't require a platform or public attention. In fact, much of this influence occurs in quiet, ordinary moments. A conversation, a decision, a boundary, a gesture of love. The chosen one leads through example, not demand. You may also begin to feel the pain of the world more deeply. This is not weakness. This is compassion. You are feeling from your soul, not just your senses. You are no longer numb, but you must learn to hold collective pain without drowning in it. Observe, respond, but remain grounded. You are here to help shift the frequency of the planet, not through force, but through presence. Spiritual alignment is not meant to remove you from everyday life. It is meant to redefine how you show up in it. The chosen one learns to carry spiritual awareness into relationships, work, and routine. You don't need to separate your spiritual life from your human responsibilities. You are being called to merge them. This is where embodiment becomes a daily discipline. You may no longer feel the need for dramatic spiritual highs. Instead, your path becomes steady, subtle, and grounded. You begin to listen more, speak less, and choose better. You bring sacredness into the mundane. You treat others with dignity, not because they've earned it, but because you've evolved. You release control not to give up, but to trust timing. You forgive not to excuse, but to free yourself. You love not to possess, but to reflect divine essence. This level of integration is what allows the chosen one to become a lighthouse. You don't need to chase influence. You carry it in your energy. Even in alignment, resistance will arise. Old patterns may attempt to return. Unexpected challenges may surface. This does not mean failure. It means the transformation is real. Enough to trigger spiritual resistance. You are being tested, not in the sense of pass or fail, but in the sense of being strengthened. Each challenge becomes a reminder. Will I respond from fear, or will I hold my alignment? The more you maintain your frequency in adversity, the more trust you build with the divine. Not because the divine needs proof, but because you do. You begin to trust yourself as someone who holds their center. That trust becomes your foundation. Eventually, you realize that resistance is not your enemy. It is your signal. Where there is tension, there is potential. Where there is discomfort, there is recalibration. Do not avoid it. Witness it. Work through it. Let it shape you, not break you. The chosen one moves forward, not because everything is known, but because the next step is clear. You are not being asked to build the entire future in a single moment. You are only being asked to move in alignment with what you know now. Your assignment may evolve. Your environment may shift. Your relationships may change. But your core will remain steady. That is the gift of divine alignment. Your peace is no longer dependent on your surroundings. You don't need to argue for your position. You don't need to prove your worth. You carry your truth. And in doing so, you become untouchable, not invincible, but unwavering. You will attract others who recognize your energy, not because you market it, but because it is authentic. These are your soul allies. You don't need many, just those who resonate, reflect, and remind you of who you are. And when doubt returns, as it always does, you return to stillness. You breathe. You remember. You realign. You are not late. You are not lost. You are in exact alignment with your divine timing. The journey of the chosen one is not a destination. It is a way of being. As you move forward, let your life reflect the transformation you've experienced. Let your choices speak your truth. Let your presence carry the light of the divine. You are not here to fit in. You are here to stand tall, walk gently, and live from the deepest truth available to you. You are the chosen one. Your time is not coming. It is now. As the journey of the chosen one begins to unfold with greater clarity and depth. This final section is not intended to introduce new revelations, but to ground and integrate everything that has been received. It is one thing to experience a spiritual awakening. It is another to walk that awakening with wisdom, consistency, and purpose. Chosen one, you have been brought through a process that did not always offer explanations. You endured seasons of silence, separation, and testing, not to be punished, but to be prepared. The awakening that you've now experienced is not a one-time event. It is a shift in your foundation, a reorientation of your spiritual compass, and an invitation to embody a higher version of yourself in the midst of ordinary life. One of the most important lessons at this stage is the understanding that sacred alignment must be maintained even when life does not feel sacred. You will encounter noise, chaos, and distractions. There will be individuals who do not understand your clarity, who question your decisions, or even resist your transformation. This is not a sign that you are doing something wrong. It is confirmation that you are being reshaped and that your energy is no longer compatible with every environment. However, this does not mean you must isolate yourself from the world. In fact, quite the opposite. You are being called to bring your energy into the world, to remain grounded, but not entangled. Present, but not compromised. The goal is not perfection. The goal is presence. Every moment you choose awareness over reaction, love over ego, and alignment over validation. You reinforce your divine identity. You are here to walk with spiritual authority, not from a place of superiority, but from inner steadiness. In the Faltimus spiritual journey, it is easy to become attached to peak experiences, visions, downloads, and moments of divine clarity. These are important, but they are not the destination. The chosen one eventually learns that the integration of insight is more powerful than the pursuit of constant inspiration. This means choosing integrity even when it's inconvenient. It means practicing spiritual discipline even when motivation fades. It means trusting your inner knowing even when circumstances seem to contradict it. Integration is often quiet. It doesn't always produce immediate results, but over time, it builds something stronger than spiritual highs. It builds character. And character is what sustains the chosen one through seasons of uncertainty. You were not chosen for emotional intensity. You were chosen for energetic maturity, the kind of presence that does not waver with external shifts, the kind that radiates even when there is no applause, the kind that stays aligned even when unseen. As your awareness increases, you will notice how many people around you are pulled by distraction, urgency, and fear. These patterns are not personal failures. They are the natural byproducts of a world disconnected from its inner life. Your role is not to judge or fix these dynamics. Your role is to embody a different frequency within them. When you respond from calm in a space of chaos, you bring clarity. When you listen in a world obsessed with speaking, you bring presence. When you choose alignment over urgency, you become a stabilizing force. This is what it means to live your purpose, not through a title or a role, but through your energetic contribution to every room you enter. Purpose is not found in what you do. It is revealed through how you show up. And because you are now operating with spiritual awareness, your purpose is not limited to a job, a goal, or a singular mission. It becomes a lifestyle. It is the natural outcome of living in truth. One of the ongoing responsibilities of the chosen one is to trust divine timing. Not everything will unfold when you want it to. Sometimes clarity will be delayed. Doors will close. People will leave. Opportunities will fall through. This is not rejection. It is redirection. It is refinement. The divine does not withhold as punishment. It withholds to protect, to develop, and to reroute you toward a better alignment. In these moments, your faith becomes your most powerful tool, not blind belief, but deep trust rooted in experience. You remember how far you've come. You recall the clarity you've received. You realign with what you already know. You also begin to recognize the cyclical nature of growth. Not every season is one of expansion. Some are for rest, others for healing, others still for observation. Each has its place. And you, chosen one, are learning to move with the seasons instead of resisting them. After spiritual awakening, one of the subtle challenges is energetic regression. The temptation to return to old environments, habits, or mindsets that once felt familiar. This is not a failure. It is simply a sign that your transformation is real enough to attract interference. Protecting your awareness does not require aggression. It requires discernment. You may need to redefine boundaries, distance yourself from certain dynamics, or say no to what once excited you. These are not acts of fear. They are acts of spiritual maintenance. You must protect what you've received, not because it's fragile, but because it is sacred. Not everyone is meant to understand your shift. Not every space is designed to support your expansion. And that's okay. Your journey is not about convincing others. It's about living in truth, whether or not others see it. With spiritual depth often comes a surprising realization. The most advanced spiritual practices are simple. Silence, breath, intention. These are not glamorous tools, but they are reliable. The chosen one does not seek complexity for validation. They seek alignment. And often, alignment is found in the simplest habits. Waking with gratitude, speaking with honesty, moving with presence, resting without guilt, listening without defense. These small practices, done consistently, create a field of stability around you. They allow you to stay grounded even as you grow. They ensure that your spiritual power is not only received, but carried with integrity. Perhaps the most powerful truth to hold in this closing phase is this: you are not alone. There are others across the world, just like you, receiving similar calls. They may live in different cultures, speak different languages, or walk different paths, but their essence is familiar. They too are chosen. You are part of a global spiritual ecosystem, a network of awakened individuals helping to raise the frequency of humanity, not through dominance, but through alignment. And though you may walk your path in solitude at times, you are never truly isolated. Trust that the right connections will emerge. Trust that your energy will attract the right allies. Trust that your presence is not lost in the noise, it is needed within it. Chosen one, you have been awakened not just for your own liberation, but to be a mirror, a guidepost, and a light. You were not called to fit in. You were called to stand out by standing in truth. Your transformation will not always be comfortable, but it will always be worth it. Let your journey be steady. Let your words be intentional. Let your actions reflect your knowing. And when doubt arises, as it inevitably will return to the stillness that first awakened you, this is not the end of your journey. It is the foundation of a new way of life, a life marked not by external validation, but by internal certainty. A life where your peace is protected, your energy is honored, and your presence is aligned. You are the chosen one. Walk accordingly. Live intentionally. Trust completely. And when the next divine call arrives, you will be ready. Chosen one. If this message resonated with the quiet certainty you've been feeling within, then consider this your confirmation. You are not imagining the shift. You are not overthinking your transformation. You are aligning with who you were always meant to become. Now is the time to continue this journey with intention. If you found clarity, strength, or direction in this content, we invite you to stay connected. Subscribe to this channel for more spiritually grounded insights, reflections, and practical guidance created specifically for those walking the path of divine alignment. You don't need to walk this path alone. Share this message with someone else who may be awakening. Your energy has influence. Let it ripple outward. Each time you show up in alignment, you help raise the collective vibration. Comment below with your reflections, your experiences, or simply a word that defines your current season. We value every voice in this space.